so I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Subaru. This is a no-launch freeway and snow machine. So the car has, the thing I like about this car is everything is OEM except for the engine, which is a hybrid 2.5. The engine is putting out 305 horsepower and I believe 390 foot-pounds of torque. So it puts out a lot of torque that breaks transmissions. I've done it once, and it's hard to find the transmission for this thing because they break so easy. But that becomes a no-launch car. I did launch it in this past, like I said, and kind of broke the transmission. Let me take it on the freeway here. It's a great freeway car because you don't have to worry about breaking the transmission, and fourth and fifth are very strong for the amount of power it has. Great loud, but not too loud, not deafening, just a nice soupy rumble to it. The engine itself was about $7,000, I believe, to complete. I bought the car for $5,000 and it had a blown head gasket. The guy I bought it from was a small dealer, and he offered to let me get it done at the shop by him for $1,800 to fix the head gasket was the quote, but it seemed a little shady considering he sold me a car with a blown head gasket. And so I told him I'm going to bring it in to someone who seems a little more professional. I brought it to JM Automotive. I think the quote was somewhere in the $3,000 range to get it fixed and stock. And I kind of asked, how much is it to get? Let's soup it up a little bit, right? And basically at that point, I got a hybrid 2.5 block engine. Hybrid meaning it's a 2.5 block with a standard 2.0 headers and all of that on top. So it's just a standard engine connected to a 2.5 block. And so it looks stock. When you look at the engine, it's got a stock. It's got a stock look to it. Stock intercooler, stock. The whole engine compartment looks stock. Stock turbo. And again, like I said, the only thing that's different about it is the block is bigger, and that just kind of gives it that torque, right? That heavy torque. It could, if I got a bigger turbo, or if you got a bigger turbo, then you could spool it up and get more, but you're gonna need a new transmission. So it's kind of the catch. And I found this car just sits in a really nice spot here for winter driving, as long as you realize you can't launch it off the go. I mean, you can go with it, just no launching. No dropping the transmission in first or second. When I did brake it, I had a draggy on it, so draggies can tell you your 0 to 60 or quarter miles just at any point. It's just like a very high definition GPS that can give you those accurate measurements on your speeds. And I believe I had an 11-second something draggy quarter mile on it, and shortly after that, though, I broke the transmission. So I know this car can do good if it has to, but I found, after I think I had like probably 20 launches off of it, and then I was kind of showboating and dropped it in second, and it snapped the transmission. So new transmission was $1,800 from a guy who I really know. So like, you gotta really have a good connection to get it that cheap, but around $2,000, I'd say, for a new transmission if you do break it. That's why this car is great for the snow. Okay, so the snow relieves all of that pressure off the transmission on the launches, It also is got snow tires. It eats up the snow with the Subi four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, I should say. You know, when the front wheels go, the rear wheels go too. So you can't tow it on two wheels. It will start screaming. I've made that mistake before. So the the car is in, you know, I would say the body is a 20-footer. It's got some issues, but again, really everything that it has issues with are replaceable for a few $100s. But I always figured, you know, so it could take new. So here's what happened with the body parts that I have done. I did get a new roof. This is a totaled car that was basically sold to me on a salvage title. And again, I paid $5,000 for it, and it had some body issues. So the trunk and the roof it was definitely rolled. The car was rolled. I have one day I came up to the car and there's a giant crack and about 2 inches of Bondo in the roof. So I got a completely new steel roof on it. I did look, it was about $2,000. It was $2,000 at Mako. I think they were trying to give me a price to get me to go away, and I said sure. I got quoted $4,000 to put a carbon fiber roof on it, and so $2,000 at the time seemed like a deal. I do have a carbon fiber trunk that I installed myself. Carbon fiber is funny. You know, if you talk to anyone about fitment on carbon fiber, its fitment isn't great, but it's very light. So I did find, I have 2 of these, so I weighed the trunk and I found it had about 10 pounds of Bondo in the original trunk. You can have that trunk if you buy the car. The trunk is sitting in my garage, but the carbon fiber trunk is on there now. It is really light, and so when you pull the thing, it really flies open. I kind of have a setup, I've got a rope. Basically, you tie a rope to the rear thing, and you pull it, and that will, you can kind of catch it before it goes flinging open. Sorry, I got into some pedestrians there. So the trunk is not OEM, but the other problem areas are the quarter panels are, you know, the right quarter panel needs a little work, but a lot of it, the rear bumper needs some work, front bumper is scuffed up, but it kind of is, everything's OEM on the drivetrain, everything's OEM about the car, the wheels, the rims are all OEM, and that's what I like about it. It's very cheap to fix this car because you just tell them, you know, a 2003 Subaru WRX, and the parts are cheap because it's a cheap thing to fix. Nothing's, you know, no aftermarket parts. The 2 aftermarket parts that I do have on it are the headlights and the taillights. These are very rare ProDrive and Moret taillights. So I have ProDrive headlights that are basically really hard to find in working condition. They are wired up myself, and they are working. And if you're looking to get this car for cheaper than asking, I would be able to give it, remove those and put the OEMs back in to give you cheaper on that, as well as the taillights. Those are some Moret taillights, easily $500. But they were paint matched to the car, so they do look really nice in there. Holy cow. than that, so the car comes with a stereo, comes with some subs in the back. I found it's just nice to have a stereo in a car, and it all kind of works out. The extra weight is something, from time to time I take it out and try to have fun with it in the snow, but it's nice to have a stereo. So it can be a daily driver. It is tuned to E85, and it will only take E85 at this point. For $600, you can get basically the aftermarket computer to so you can do a dual tune on it and have multiple gas types. But I just found it nice and simple. I've got E85 by my house to keep it at E85. It gives it that nice torquey power. But it is, a double-edged sword with E85 because you have to keep it moving. So there's a lot of, moving the gas tank around in the summer. You got to drive it a little bit, to keep that gas fresh. The car is just a runner. It's just turns on, it goes. Like I said, it's a $7,000 engine in a $5,000 car, so it doesn't make a lot of sense, except for it's an amazing little snow machine / highway cruiser. And yeah, a lot of fun. And it's hard for me to sell this. It was my first Subaru, but I do have another bug eye that is broken down, and that's what I'm selling it for, to finance the other build, which I blew the engine on because I was pushing too much power. So this one is definitely your daily driver winter type car, E85 machine, and you don't have to worry about it being too nice. I do suggest hand washing it, especially if you're going to keep the headlights and taillights. These aftermarket things can be delicate, and I just hand wash the car if I have those in. If you're going the cheaper route, taking a few thousand off for removing the heads and tails, I would, it could probably shove it through an auto wash or whatever, and it would be fine. I just personally hand wash it because of the expensive aftermarket heads and tails. And yeah, it's just great little fun car.